success stories with you. And the first one I'm going to update you on is Stacy Kohler, who is pursuing a degree in technical writing. And she said her classes are excellent and AAUW's assistance with the scholarship has been fantastic. She actually will graduate one semester early due to the scholarship. It allowed her to take more classes. And she is now currently working at DSU. And they have told her once she gets her degree, she's going to have a title jump and a pay bump, which she is thrilled about. Particularly in
Nice.
particularly because her husband is pursuing a medical degree. So she's really thrilled that she's going to be able to offer some more financial support for him. And the last thing she said is that if she had the opportunity, she would like to be able to thank every one of you in person for the assistance that you've given them. So I told her I would do that on her behalf tonight. And now I'm going to turn it over to Pat that has a couple more stories.
Why, thank you, Lois. I appreciate you coming in from across the universe. The background a little bit on the scholarship for AAUW. We have been doing it for so many years, and we're up to now approximately $140,000. We have, over a period of 10 to 12 years, provided monies to our scholarship winners. And we have a very tight screening program that we take them through with involving about 20 volunteers from the AAUW. So the process is very thorough. Sometimes they don't make it through the graduation, but we're averaging about 70% of those graduating in our programs, because once they get a scholarship, they too get 2 more opportunities for monies to be provided them. So we're very proud of that, because our program has gotten larger and larger and larger in helping more students. So we're averaging about 35 students a year that we're helping, and we divide all the money, which is approximately $40,000 that we give out annually. We hope we're going to be able to get close to that this year. We're not sure yet. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about the 2 women that I called and checked on them. One is Micheline Tavern. She's getting a master's in public administration. She, of course, extended her thankfulness for having it because she is already in debt to the tune of $15,000 while she's going to school, and every little bit helps. She will be moving to Salt Lake because her last 12 semester hours are online, and she'll be teaching part-time English so that she can stay a little bit on her career and a little bit on her schooling. She's a single, listen to this. She's a single mother of 1, and you've heard that before. We love to help out single mothers. The scholarship monies helped her realize her dream while also parenting and holding down, get this, 2 jobs, teaching at the high school, and also part-time at an insurance agency. So not only is she raising her kid, but she has 3 part-time jobs, and she's also going to school. So that's where we talk about I Am Women, Listen to Me Roar. That was what Helen Reddy was all about. She will reapply for financial scholarship in 2021, and it will help her continue her master's degree, and she'll be taking 24 credit hours over the summer and fall from DSU to finish in 2021. So we're very hopeful that everything goes well and circumstances don't change for her. So we're very proud to say that she is making a success story out of the monies we have provided. The next one, and this one kind of threw me just a little bit, Masters in Technical Writing and Digital Rhetoric. To me, that's a little bit of a snoozer, but apparently people do need a lot of technical writing help. And the master's degree was just implemented at DSU. So her name is Jen Stewart. Jen will be finishing up her spring semester with her master's. She was able to get a position with CSU as a research administrator, grant writer, even before she finished her master's. Her master's degree made that possible. Not to mention a new career for her and a better pay was the result. She is so appreciative to AAUW and the Women's Giving Circle for helping her set an example. Are you ready for this? She has 3 children, all girls, and a husband who works, so that all of that has helped her achieve the goals that she has set her mind to do. It is through her energy and her tenacity that she's been able to go so far with this master's degree, and she already has a job. She will be graduating, and this is just a footnote, Stephanie, for you to feel good, really good. Pam, I see you're on there, and Kay. She'll be graduating at the same time as 2 of her daughters, who were twins, who are also finishing high school. When she is financially able, she threw this in, I will join AAUW. So we're very pleased about that. And I didn't cover you now, Stephanie, on the 3 corners, but she's going to join AAUW. For the money,
1 minute. You have 1 minute left.
okay, the application we have again submitted to 3 corners for next year to the tune of $8,000. And the master's degrees are growing, and this will be our second request for more master's degrees. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank
Amen.
you, Pat. Thank
Okay.
you, ladies. Did a great job. Next, we have.
Hold on a second. So we don't
yeah.
have, as far as I can see, we don't have anybody that's asked a question about AAUW. I just want to thank them. Pat, you need to get going and get them to join 3 corners as well.
Yes,
yes.
I'll get right on it.
I know you can do it.
Yes.
Okay, Terry, go for it.
Okay. Our next grantee is the Assistance League of Southern Utah. And I believe it's Marcia Besh who's going to tell us how they were able to provide clothing for underserved students at Mill Creek High School and Youth Futures, and whether they were able to stretch those dollars we gave them to graduating women students at the El Capitan Public High School in Colorado City. Please tell us more, Marcia.
Yes, pleasure to be with you tonight. Thank you to the organization in general, 3 Corners, but also to all of you who donate so generously through your membership and other donations to make this possible. The monies, and here you see some of the happy shoppers. This was in the newsletter, but we thought we'd show that to you again since that came out a while ago. We did serve all the places we had hoped to, in slightly modified time frame, especially because of COVID. But because of our dedicated volunteers, we were able to accomplish. Last year, and this is our 2nd year for a grant, last year we concentrated primarily on the seniors at Water Canyon High School in Hilldale, which is part of the Washington County School District. These are young women who have left the FDLS official group, but are still part of that community and are in all cases quite in poverty. We did expand the program to El Capitan, which is their equivalent school in Colorado City, right across the border. We had 4 senior girls from there. Because of some challenges with Mill Creek this year, because of the virus, we did serve some of those students, but they were officially students at Snow Canyon, and 1 student there, high school, and then 6 in Enterprise. We also expanded the program to include 5 young women at Youth Futures. They are there for anywhere from a few nights to a month or so. They often need clothing for specific jobs, or even though there's a used clothing store on site at their facility, Certainly it's nice to have some new underwear and so on. We were very pleased to continue our partnership with JCPenney and also expanded to H&M department store because it's a tax deductible no, they don't have to pay tax. Plus those stores really make every effort to have sales and good bargains for the kids. The clothing is to be used for future schooling and or entering the job market. That new clothing gives them confidence and excitement. One woman from Hilldale expressed her excitement that evening when she was shopping and shared that she is going to Dixie Tech in welding, which is certainly a non-traditional program for a young woman. She was excited about going to the school and coming to St. George. A thank you note was received from the counselor at El Capitan. This was our first year of working with students from that high school. One student said, and this is her own words, "This is cool. I have never got to choose my own clothes. What? We get $150 to spend? That is so cool." And this from the counselor. Some of the students who attended the event had attendance problems. Their attendance has increased dramatically.
Some reflections.
Another student who was shy or anxious met with the counselor and now too shy to meet with the counselor before, now chats with her regularly. And finally, a final note from the counselor: to all who have helped out with Operation School Bell for El Capitan, I know a lot of time and energy has been spent on your end. Thank you to all the donors as well. Our kids had a blast. So again, thank you. And I think we've given a boost to these young women to help them further their education and their careers with more sense of confidence and enthusiasm. And thank you, Three Corners.
Okay, there's no questions as far as I can see, so let's just move on. I would just like to remind everyone attending, if you could mute yourself and stop your video, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, let's hear from Canyon Creek Services. They received partial funding from the Three Corners Women's Giving Circle for their financial empowerment program that teaches financial literacy to domestic violence and sexual assault survivors. Canyon Creek Services works with survivors to develop a safety plan and find refuge from their abusers. They work closely with them to gain a basic and necessary financial literacy that will set them and their families up for economic advancement. Are we hearing from Rianne tonight? Rianne Reimschussel?
She doesn't appear to be on the call. Rianne, if you're there are a few people that are not identified here in the list that are attending. If you're there, can you unmute yourself and put your video on? She said she would be here.
Well, maybe she'll sign in later.
Yeah, why don't we come back to her and move on to the next one, Terry?
Okay, our next grantee is the Dove Center, which has a fond place in my heart. I think Lindsay Boyer will be telling us about how they want to provide clinical counseling, printed educational materials, and handouts to enable the Dove Center to offer empowerment and self-esteem class for preteen girls at Snow Canyon Intermediate School. Dove's youth program manager has developed this class, and it has been successfully provided at Fossil Ridge and Hurricane Intermediate Schools. Lindsay, are you there? Can you tell us more?
I am here, but I actually have our
our youth program leader, Brittany, who you guys may have remembered, and our youth program coordinator, Summer, who is new to you all, who have joined me tonight because they can speak so much better to this. And Summer is actually the one running this show and has some great some updates for you guys to provide. So I'm going to turn it over to her.
Okay.
Okay, hello. Yeah, my name's Summer Simpkins. I'm the youth program coordinator. And so, yeah, I've been the one in charge of these groups, these girls groups at the school. So right now we have 4. Last year we had one that Brittany was running at Fossil Ridge Intermediate, and that Mackenzie, one of our clinical therapists, was running at Hurricane Intermediate School. So we've continued those into this year, and then we've also added Snow Canyon Middle School and Dixie Middle School. So we have 4 groups right now. I currently facilitate the Snow Canyon, and then the Fossil Ridge, and then our other youth advocate, Courtney, facilitates the other 2. So we do those every single week. And so from February 1st of this year up until today, because Dixie and Snow Canyon were being run at the beginning of the spring before COVID hit, and they're still being run, but Snow Canyon, the other 2, yeah, they're all being run now. And so since February 1st to now, Snow Canyon, we have provided 15 groups. At Dixie Middle, we have provided 11. Fossil Ridge, we have provided, or Hurricane, we've provided 9, and Fossil Ridge 13. And so, yeah, these groups have been amazing. We were really nervous that we weren't going to be able to come back this year with COVID and everything, but we were really, really excited to hear from all counselors from all schools that they believe we are an essential service. So that was really nice to hear. And yeah, groups are as normal as they can be, with masks and distancing and everything, but we've gotten really great feedback from the counselors, just hearing improved behavior, performance in school, social skills, improved grades, less behavioral issues and things like that. And we've gotten really great feedback from the girls as well. I actually have a couple quotes that I'll share from some of the girls that were, some of the girls at Fossil Ridge during Brittany's group last year, and then some that I actually got this morning at Hurricane. So the girls have said a lot of things like, I like girls group because it's a place where I can talk about my feelings. I feel safe at girls group. Girls group is the best place that I feel supported. I like coming to girls group because I can be myself here. This one, girls group is great because Mrs. Brittany is here. She supports us no matter what. So those are some from Fossil Ridge. And then today, some of the girls said, I like girls group because we do fun activities and we're all together. I like group because we have fun and we get a good break from school. I love group because it helps with my anxiety and I can relax. Girls group is where we come together and everyone is supportive. So today it was really good. I think just, per COVID too, it's been really great to see that this can still be a place where the girls can come together, get that break from school, be able to learn together, develop different social skills. And I wanted to share a quick experience too that I had last week at Fossil Ridge. We were talking about boundaries and consent. And there's this game online that's called Cool Not Cool, and it basically just walks you through different situations, and the girls decide whether that's something that's cool or whether it's not cool. And some of them are pretty obvious, but it's good to go through situations. And after we finished, I asked the girls if they had any situations or any times that they had been confused or they didn't really know what to do, because they'd all, like I said, it was pretty consensual. They all could kind of tell, which things seemed okay and which couldn't. And one of the girls said, yeah, I actually do have a question. In PE, when we run the mile every week or when we run laps, there's always this boy that bumps into me, and he always bumps into me. And he kind of hits me, on this part of my body that makes me feel uncomfortable. And anyways, is that okay? And so as we kind of all talked through it with her, she was like, yeah, he bumps me every single week and he always touches me in this spot and it happens all the time. And so the other girls were like, no, that's not okay. And as she kind of talked herself through it, she was like, yeah, that's not okay. He doesn't get to touch me if I don't want him to. and if something's happening that makes me feel uncomfortable, then I should go talk to my teacher. And, anyway, so just as they kind of talked to each other through it, it was really cool to see her, kind of realize that she is in control of her body and that she has the resources when, even in 7th grade when she's struggling. And so, yeah, the groups have been really great. We've seen really great feedback from the girls and from the counselors. Heard really great things. So we would really like to add, we're working right now with Tonnequah Intermediate School and Sunrise Ridge and Lava Ridge, hopefully to start those by the end of the year. We would obviously love to have groups in every school in this in St. George and within the community. But yeah, they've been really great, and we're so glad that they were deemed an essential service right now. So I don't know, Brittany or Lindsay, if you want to speak any more to that.
I think you touched on it very well, Summer. This group is really special to me. It's been something I've been involved with for a long time, back from when I was in grad school working at the schools, and I was able to see firsthand how helpful it was and how really preventative it is if we can instill this sense of self-esteem, this sense of confidence that I can communicate what happens to me, what's okay, what my boundaries are. I can ask and give consent, that it really changes the path that these girls go on. And it's not just affecting them, it's helping the boys that they interact with. I've seen so many girls that will stand up for themselves, just like in the situation Summer described, where these girls, they'll experience something that's not okay and they'll say something. And it's a beautiful process. And then everybody else in the school learns from it. I remember several years ago, the girls that I was teaching in the schools wanted to do like a research project. This was completely their decision, their choice. They brought it up, and they created a survey, and they surveyed all the girls that they could in the lunchroom about what they thought about consent, what they thought about what like a girl means, what it means to hit like a girl, what it means to run like a girl. And then they surveyed the boys, and then they talked about the results, and they actually presented it to the principal. And it was so fun seeing them all just empowered, and they were just beaming. It was incredible. And those girls, this was several years ago, and I actually ran into one of those girls. She's working at one of my favorite restaurants, and she told me about her trajectory after that, like what her experience has been and how she's learned, and the friendships that she's kept, she's maintained from that group. And she's now 17. So it blows me away, and it's such an amazing group. So I'm so grateful that we have funding and partners like the Women's Giving Circle to help us continue to provide the group and even potentially get into more schools. And that's my soapbox. I'm done.
And I'm just going to echo what they've already said and just thank all of you for the support that you give to women and girls, and just the power in that. We see it every day, and we get the pleasure of working with a lot of women at the Dove Center, and there's power that women can create, and when they work together, they move mountains. And it's just cool to see our younger generation learning to do that at a young age. So thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions?
I want to say one thing. We don't have any questions. However, some of you might have seen this week the Dove Center annual meeting that they presented online. But if you didn't, I just wanted to say thank you to the Dove Center for mentioning us in that video that they had in terms of this program and supporting this program. And also I wanted everyone to know that they gave the Community Service Award to a woman that some of you might know. Her name is Sharon Haquam, and she is a member of our Giving Circle too. So I don't think she's on the call, but congratulations to Sharon. So we can move on, Terry.
Okay, well, I think this is our last one if the other center doesn't show up. It is the Washington County Children's Justice Center. And Christine Pike, who is their executive director, will tell us about the funds that we provided for trauma therapists for their non-school mental health therapy program, pardon me. The Justice Center's goal is to provide mental health therapy for all abuse victims who are interviewed at the Children's Justice Center. If trauma and sexual abuse therapy is not addressed in childhood, victims are more likely to be re-victimized as adults. Anxiety, fear, and suicidal ideas and behaviors have also been associated with a history of childhood sexual abuse. So tell us how it went, Ms. Pike.
Christy, I just want to butt in. If you have a problem sharing your screen, let me know.
Okay, I'm going to give it a shot. And if you all don't mind, I just want to take the liberty, if I could, here at the beginning, before I report on the Children's Justice Center, and maybe as in my role as with St. George, just tell you how awesome you are and how much I love what you do. All of you, I have such great relationships with the amazing people over at Dove and at the Assistance League and AAUW. I have such a soft spot in my heart for you powerful women. And I know that the mayor would echo my thoughts on that. I'm excited to see YWCA be able to use their funding next year. I'm on that board with them, and we need more women in office. And I think that the program that they're working on is going to help that. So that was my soapbox, but thank you. You guys are amazing. I'm going to now try and share my screen, and this is going to be host disabled participant screen sharing. So I'm going to just talk through it. Stephanie, don't worry about trying to share it.
You sure?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. So just quickly, the Children's Justice Center is a home-like child-friendly facility where children who have been victims of abuse or other crimes can begin the road to healing. And our mission is to collaborate with multidisciplinary partners to protect each child, advance justice, promote healing, and educate our community. We have a kind of a broad range of services. We started with forensic interviewers. We added victim advocacy. We added medical services, and then most recently we've added mental health services. This year, last year we served 501 primary victims of child abuse. That included 299 interviews, 142 medical exams. And just to give you an idea of the population that we serve, the most common allegation was child sex abuse or assault. 89% of the alleged perpetrators were known to the victims. 50% last year of the kiddos we saw, the alleged perpetrators were related to the victim. 65% of our primary victims were female, and 103 victims were younger than 7 years old. So let's talk about our mental health therapy program. It's new to us, and partially it's new because it's so expensive, but it's so important. So we have a kind of several different pieces to it. The first thing we do is screen kids when they come in for trauma and for suicidal ideation. That's a screener that Primary Children's Medical Center put together that we're using throughout the state at Children's Justice Centers. We performed in the first 3 quarters of this year, so through September 30th, that's a calendar year, I'm talking quarters, 130 of those. They're averaging at around this score being 20.9, which means nothing to you, except I'm going to tell you that anything over 20 is considered high trauma, high risk for trauma. We do safety planning as well. We'll work safety plans for kids who are suicidal. We'll do those screeners. And then we do grant funded therapy. So this is where you come in. There are a couple of different ways that we do that. We do that in schools with with the kids while they're at school, and we do it in the community. And during COVID, we've been doing some telemental health as well. And then we worked with the Dove Center to provide some support groups. So let's talk about your grant. The grant was $8,000 to support our mental health program. It was for individual therapy provided by contracted local professionals. This is evidence-based trauma-focused therapy. So it's specifically for dealing with trauma and abuse. And it is outside of our school therapy program and augments money that we get from other grants. So the grant reach this year was 31 women and girls with individual therapy. That included 25 primary victims who were all under the age of 18 and 6 secondary victims who were adult women. Generally, they were non-offending mothers of the primary victim. And we were able to provide over 100 sessions of individual therapy. I know you love stories, and I love stories too. I'm a writer, and I love stories. Unfortunately, it's difficult to ask kiddos who are in therapy for having been sexually abused to tell us their story, and it's probably inappropriate to re-traumatize them. So what I thought I would do is maybe try to give you a picture of what these girls look like. So who are these girls? Well, first of all, they're survivors. They're amazing young women. They range in age, the girls that were served by the grant this year, from 6 years old to 17. The average age was 13 and a half. The most common allegation that brought them to our Children's Justice Center was sexual assault by far. That was followed by physical assault, survivor of a homicide, child endangerment, and domestic violence. Those were the top allegations that we were seeing kiddos for that were provided by this grant. But there were also kids where the allegations included teen dating violence, emotional abuse, bullying, child sex trafficking, child pornography, which we call child sex abuse material. We're trying to get away from the term child pornography. And I know that sounds heavy, it sounds awful, and it is, except that research shows us that with the proper support and buffering factors, that victims of child abuse can live happy, healthy lives. And you did that. This grant has allowed us to provide that therapy for these kiddos to help them do that, to become healthy, happy survivors in the future. And congratulations, because that is some amazing work. So thank you. And if it, when people ask me, what can we do? Of course, like all of us, everyone you've heard from, we all need more money, right? But there are other things as well that are so key. And I often have a list of things that people can do to help us. But right now, it feels like the most important thing I can share with you about how to help is a little message, if it's okay with you, about resilience. We have seen some amazingly resilient kids. They inform our work, they inspire our work, they help us as professionals be resilient as well. And I was doing some research on, I was looking at some research that was done by people who are way smarter than I am, about resilience and what helps kids to be resilient, what helps them bounce back after abuse. And they were trying to come up with a menu of things are there 10 things that we can teach kids that will help them be resilient? And really they came up with 2 things that were the most important. And the first was connections. Kids need connections. And you know what, so do adults. If there's ever a time that we need some resilience as a nation, as a world, I think this might be it. And so connections are so key to kids. So anytime you can provide a connection for a child, a healthy connection, that's awesome. And that will help, not only will it help kids bounce back after abuse, it will also help prevent abuse. And it's a great suicide prevention as well. But the second thing was one that was really quite surprising, and they found that it's actually the most determining factor in resilience. And that was having a sense of purpose. And maybe that's why we do what we do, right? And maybe that's why all of you amazing people do what you do, is because having a sense of purpose is so healthy, and it helps us in our day-to-day lives. Well, kids need that sense of purpose as well. They need to know that they are needed. And so as we provide those kinds of opportunities for kids, and that helps them be resilient as well. My friends board, the people who help provide our 501c3, would be really mad at me if I didn't mention that we are selling apples right now. So our website is cjcwc.com. And if you know us for our apples, the sale is on right now. Don't miss it. And then my final pitch is to just make sure that if you see abuse, if you see child abuse, please report it. We're all mandatory reporters as adults in Utah. And if you need that hotline, you can give me a call or you can check our website, cjcwc.com. Thank you. Appreciate you all so much. I don't know if there were any questions.
There are not any questions.
Okay.
Oh,
let's see.
Yeah, can you?
Here we go. Here's the website. cjcwc.com is the website. Or if you want to call, you can call here. It's 435-634-1134. It's $40 for 40 pounds of apples. And if you haven't been to the store recently, that's a great deal.
Okay, thanks, Christy.
Thanks, Stephanie.
We have recorded this for those people that didn't get the message. Unfortunately, due to my screw up again, we didn't start right away, the recording, but we will be sending out the recording in an email to all of you. I can also put the link to the Washington County Children's Justice Center apple sale in that, and also Christie's, she had a PowerPoint. I'll put a link to that in there. And I just want to thank all the presenters and apologize. I don't know why Washington County Canyon Creek Services is not here. They don't appear to be here, and even though they said they would be. So I don't know what happened. I will check up with them and see if they can give us an update as to what their presentation would have been. So thanks to everyone. If anyone has a final question, put it in the chat. Some people have said great presentations to all of the presenters. Thank you. And that's about it for tonight. So thanks very much for attending. I think we had about 35 to 40 attendees, which is great. And if you know of anyone who didn't attend, tell them we'll be sending out the email of the recording. Thanks a lot. Goodbye. See you in January.